You know, you have a lot of videos of Vietnam vets sharing stories of all major battles and being involved in stuff like that, and it's all pretty touching, to the rest of us because no matter what you did, if you've been to Vietnam, what it even smells like to be in certain areas and under certain conditions. The stories you don't hear are the ones that, well, they don't depict Americans as heroes. so, so my testimony is a little off the road, but for the young men that I serve with, it's reality. We got to Vietnam in January 9th, 1970. And of course, at that time, there was Marines and grunt units going home. Artillery units don't go home. We are support right to the end. And of course, I served from Queen Yan all the way to Ben Hat, and then back to the Central Highlands, right in the middle of the country. And was in three different units. The 7th of the 15th Artillery was my final one. The 6th of the 14th was at Ben Hat. The 7th of the 13th would be my break-in on the 105 howitzers near LZ Uplift in Phu Mai. We would actually see the fighting going on right in front of us and shooting rounds for these guys. And they'd come and visit us also, and I'll stop in, play, kickball with a rock. Amazing. But what you haven't heard was what it's like in January 9th, 1970, to be flying over from, from Andrews Air Force Base over to Anchorage, Alaska, and then to Japan, and finally to Tan Son Nhut, to Vietnam, which took 22 hours. Now, when on the way over on the plane, we were all singing, "Yay, yay, LBJ, how many kids did you kill today?" I mean, we're punks. We're drafted. Most of the men I served with are totally anti-war, but we're thrown into this, and of course you meet some of the infantry that we're fighting for, and your heart goes out to them. You have no consideration for Charlie Kong, the enemy. And of course, he wasn't our enemy. I mean, I'm so cracked on my neck from an NBA who taught me that. And but we're singing LBJ, yeah, yeah, LBJ, how many kids you killed today, yeah, 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 LBJ, and we can go on and on. Now, when we got off the plane, there were about 20 hardcore, filthy guys screaming at us, hurling the worst abuse we've ever heard in our lives, all the way to butt raping. Vicious, nothing but vicious statements being made. We were shaking in our boots. We have to come and do this with these people? Unreal. You have never seen anything like it. It will never get over it. Never get over it. If anything, when you see a new guy, you just tell him, look, don't touch anything until we show you what's going on, okay? were a little more kind than these grunts that were going home. They were horrible. I've never seen anything like that in my life. I would go on to experience people with ears and teeth and scalps around their necks hanging there, and I couldn't take pictures of them. They would have killed me. That was scary for me. And I was, non-violent. I just play guitar for people and have a good time and make the best of a situation. I'm not a hero, but I hate to say it, but I killed a lot more guys than a lot of the Marines did. Okay? And that's not bragging, that's sick. This earth is sick. So we go on to, learn to fire the 105, and we're finally allowed to shoot missions and handle that weapon properly and safely and accurately and as quick as possible. And I damaged my hearing. I went down to Quinyon, and they drop you off at the transit hooch, and you go to the doctor. And of course, we all have tinnitus, right? I'm talking to a couple of grunts there, and I've told this story before. They were from the 101st Airborne Uplift in that area, and in that valley we were in. And there was three of them standing outside. They were looking at my patch, and I'm, friendly, smoking dope, and doing all that stuff, right? And we're just shooting the shit, and I'm happy-go-lucky Charlie. I've always been that way. And these guys all of a sudden turned sour on me and told me about one of the guys getting killed while they were getting overrun, and our guns were responsible for firing. And that was a month before I got there. It had nothing to do with me personally, but they wanted to get even. They invited me to a bar down a shabby area, and I went. And it was dark in there, and they knew everybody. And every time I went to leave, it didn't seem right. They were like light bulb lighting up in a dark room and coming right at me and giving me hugs and buying me another beer and all this. Hanging there, brother, we got a couple of things to do, man. Hey, we'll be with you, man. Don't leave. I mean, give me a break, After the third time of that happening, I did him out, man. I got out of there quick in that alley. Dark, dingy, smelly. And there was like 3 or 4 of those of their brothers with full dress, full dress with their their guns and hand grenades and all the stuff and knives and all that. And I flew. I ran so fucking fast. I said, I'm not going to die here, man, by the hands of Americans. And of course that led to a lot of behaviors because I didn't, negative behaviors. I didn't tell anybody. And but I wrote a song about that, and to this day, that's a very cool song for me. And I document things, but I didn't outright say what had happened. So in the interim, we say around, maybe June, July, around there, into August, we were deactivating the 7th and 13th Artillery and sending, of course, the colors home and giving the guns to the South Vietnamese and heading to Pleiku. This is going across country. And they assigned me to Ben Hat, 6th and 14th, and right over the Ho Chi Minh Trail within, something like 6 miles. So, and they fingered in right from there. So it was a very strategic place. But by that time, I had acquired a license to drive Shark, so I was doing a lot of driving. And if you look at pictures of me, I'm like, my hands are chewed up and like they are today, constant work and trucking through dangerous places. saw a bus blowing up just about maybe 3 minutes before I got 3 or 4 minutes before I even got there, and that thing was on fire and people were scrambling. I'm like, whoa, you know. And so I get to Ben Het for the first time, and I'm with a friend from New York City, from the Bronx, Joe, Italian kid, and of course I'm Italian from Boston, and we talk kind of fast, and we're kind of friendly, and it's easy for us to just walk right in, and and smoke some dope and start hanging around with guys. But by then, a lot of people are doing heroin, and this roommate of mine, I didn't even stay one night yet, and this roommate of mine come up with his ears sticking out and yo hillbilly, and right in front of everybody, he accused me of being an army narc plant. Nobody could come in here that fast and make friends that fast without being an army narc plant. Wow. Now you got weapons aimed at you for months, for about 2 months. And I had to go and find people to save me because I knew this was getting really weird. Now I'm already in shock from a previous encounter with Americans. And, I don't know about you, but America's a screwed up place. Turfs and all that stuff and neighborhoods, and it's just a sick place, okay? The only time I'm safe is on my bike, riding out in the country, and I'm in control of the getaway. So, Ben Het gets deactivated 6th of the 14th. Well, they took out just that unit, and my other friend was in another battery in the 6th of the 14th in the southern part of Playco down south on LZ Xray, and they got overrun that morning. So we left that night, and the next morning my friend was blown up, and they got 42 mortar rounds and ground attack and overrun. So then I was moved from Playco into the 7th of the 15th artery, and I'm not sure which battery it was because I'm in 4 places actually, and I get there and there's racial tension. Now I'm an old timer by then, it was around December, and that would be my last month, but I extended, so I would get out in March, and I think it turned out to be 465 days. And they would stick most of us stragglers, from other units, into permanent guard. So we had our own hooch, and we maintained the 4 towers for the 175s and 8-inch mobile tracks, and there were some pretty good people there, but they have a bar there. You can look it up online, LG Blackhawk Mom's Place. Now, I was a drugger, so I did weed and snorted heroin, and we kind of kept to ourselves, and the guys that drank were down, stirring up a posse to attack 2 black guys in our unit. I'm sitting on the sandbags with my guitar, just and my dog that a guy gave me. I entrusted a dog to me, and I'm singing, la 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 to God, and playing the guitar and just doing what I do right now. And all of a sudden, 15 guys come up drunk and tell me, if you don't want to be a part of this, you better get the fuck out of here right now. I couldn't believe it. I'm like, oh, you're fucking shitting me. And these are guys that I sang green, green grass of home, all that country bullshit. And, wow, a yellow alert went off, and I've never heard a yellow alert. We have always been right there. That was just around Christmas time, just after Christmas. between then and New Year's, and all of the unit, including captains, lieutenants, the whole bit, were all gathered in one barn. I call them barns because they were just above ground with like a barn. And there was not allowed to have doors on the other end that were locked or anything like that in case of a satchel charge attack and all that. And this kid Andy, the quietest kid in the whole place, a black guy, and probably, white neighborhood kind of guy, educated, really cool. But he came out in his underwear, and he was preaching that God had woke him in his sleep. And he preached to every single person up and down that place about love and about sin and about the stuff that they're doing. I couldn't believe it. I was like, wow. I mean, is this going to keep happening? When do I go home, And then you go home and Jody's got your girl. I really wasn't in good shape. And, I just make lemonade. I've learned to do that. But, Andy, the only moving of the Holy Spirit I've ever seen was that particular 2 or 3 days, unreal, where the whole company came back together in love like we'd never seen. And to this day, I'd rather be there after that bullshit than anywhere I've been. Because I hated to see brother hating brother. And I've always been a person to try and bring people together and that kind of thing, a peacemaker. And today I'm not so much of a peacemaker because I'm old now and I don't care as much, but I probably did my part, my contribution to humanity. And, but, those stories are not told very often. You don't really hear a lot of that. You hear about, sergeants and drill instructors being mean and different things. And there are some stories that I've watched that are okay. I don't spend all my time watching those because I'm so affected by those major experiences in Vietnam. The big three, I call them, and that would more or less affect my whole life and my attitude. So I can be a little, cynical. Good. I'm glad I earned it. So those are the Vietnam stories that I tell. They are extremely. Yeah, they affected me real bad. And I got over them as time went on, and of course. And they used to affect me in my younger days when I first got home. I was like, wow, And a lot of people didn't know how to take me. My attitude was kind of twisted. Which is understandable. I understand it perfectly. But I couldn't, explain myself, and people would wonder about my behavior. And that remains sometimes even to today. But the first thing I ever said to a psychiatrist was, I do not know who the enemy is. But I lived my whole life wondering who the good guys are while I do comedy and live my life pretty good. So I'm very generous, and I've returned to my basic self, which is not a horrible thing. It's a little freaky to some people, but the finished product, whether it's a guitar or a car or whatever it is, I'm working my butt off right now. But, people know that I'm pretty genuine, and and I do the best I can with the broken down body that I'm starting to get, you know. Um, but that's my story. You'd have to get off that plane and see these guys abuse her just to start your tour. You had never seen anything like that, even in a movie of a guy going to jail. Those guys at least giggle and smile and say, ha, I can't wait to get you, honey. These guys were vicious, vicious. So my hat is not all off to all Vietnam vets. Trust me. When people say, hey, there's another Christian over here, you ought to meet him. Nah, I'll pass on that shit. And a lot of Vietnam vets I'm very leery of, and then others I have helped a lot of Vietnam vets open up for the first time. And, my work down here is only known by God. I think I did a pretty good job. Right now I'm not doing anything, but so I figured I'd make a video and kind of do tell you the truth about one man's experience. It's just like watching the old black blues, man. I love it. And those people were so humble, and they're getting up there, and there's not stardom going on. There's just I'm playing this song for you, man. And wow, so I had a ball doing that this morning, and waking up to music like I usually do if I can, and depends on my dreams. So anyway, that's in a nutshell. Doesn't matter if you enjoyed it or not.